Spread throughout the Stanton system are many beautiful Lagrange clouds to be explored. But included as part of 3.17.2 are a long list of new stations of these Lagrange clouds, many more than before, and the addition of missing Lagrange points for Microtech, along with a handful that were missing for other planets. This does technically make the Stanton system a little bigger than it was before, because MIC-L2 is now the farthest point from the star, and it also adds a bunch of new locations to make use of. But I wanted to go explore in the opposite direction. MIC-L3. Out in the middle of nowhere, it is truly the edge of the system. MIC-L2 is the furthest point from Stanton, because MIC-L3 is like on Microtech's orbit. But MIC-L3 like symbolically feels like the furthest place because it's like so far from every other goddamn anything, you know?
Yeah. 64,000.
Oh, yeah. I am heading to MIC-L3 now to see what this new Lagrange cloud looks like, because this is brand new. And as I came into view, I could see the clouds were a sea green and vivid blue colour. The colours seen are typical of Microtech Lagrange clouds, a very beautiful combination. Of the other Stanton planets, Hurston Lagrange clouds have a lime green through brown coloration, Crusader clouds tend to have a grey-blue colour with hints of rusty brown at the edges, and Arcquark clouds are a deep, rich green and turquoise. I think it would have been cool to see clouds following in the yellow, orange, red colour palette somewhere in the system too, but the chosen colours are also very nice. I was making my way to Endless Odyssey Station. There was some debate between Razorburn and I over whether this station or MIC-L4 were the most remote in the system, but right now I wanted to investigate the station.
Well, that Lagrange point is going to be the same distance as Microtech is from the Stanton star.
Yeah.
So, yeah, does that make it to the...
No, it's not the furthest from the star, because MIC-L2 would be like further, but you know.
True.
As I'd soon discover, there were some interesting layout details here not seen at many of the rest stops. The ASOP terminals lead out directly to the clinic and a long corridor. You go down that long corridor, past the admin office, way down you come to a T-junction, and if you take a right at that T-junction, then you reach the room with the big window in it, the lounge with the big window in it. That's weird, isn't it?
It's interesting. It's an interesting layout.
There's no elevator to go up to like the gallery. There is no galleria at this station. It's just kind of laid out on a single floor, it looks like. It reminds me of Port Odyssey. The view from the window here isn't particularly spectacular, but it really does feel like being right out on the edge of nowhere. I'd soon be moving on now and heading for MIC-L4. you know, in the 5 minutes I've been here, I've really grown attached to it. I'm sad to leave. But leave it I would, and set out on a very long quantum jump. At 75 million kilometers, this surpasses any possible previous jump distance prior to 3.17.2, and this isn't even the longest possible route now. In the new PTU, there was also another unexpected change. Lagrange clouds are now made up of several quantum locations. This adds some variety and extra locations for sure, but it does mean you have to add an extra jump to get to the station. And actually on this occasion I need to make 2 additional jumps. Next destination up ahead is Crossroads Station, and it had a much more detailed and rather unique layout than the previous stop we'd made, with its rotating sections oriented sideways.
Having to fly top down into hangars now at stations is weird. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, it just threw me for a loop when it first happened. I'm like, wait, what?
Please proceed to assigned landing bay.
Because I hadn't gotten to a station that had that yet.
All stations now have hangars. There are still landing pads with all the usual services, but you no longer need to request permission to use them. For calling and storing ships though, it's got to be a hangar.
Landing complete.
Crossroads Station. So, a weird one.
That one makes me think of like the Red Cross.
And the view from this window was pretty spectacular, overlooking the rotating sections of the station. Crossroads has a pretty standard layout, with the majority of the shops located on the Galleria, as you'd expect. Pretty standard looking Galleria. You know, you'd be forgiven for thinking you were at Crew 1, for example. When I resumed travelling again, I changed ships and was off to visit Mick L5 on the opposite side of the system. I wouldn't make a stop here, but I was very impressed by one of the most dramatic clouds so far. And then later, back aboard Icarus, I'd made my way out to the true end of the system, Mick L2, the farthest point from Stanton itself. The new Lagrange points really add a sense of scale in the Stanton system, and while some of those on the outer rim here are not on the way to anything, so cannot really serve as stopping points to refuel, they can serve as hubs for community events. This definitely makes the system feel more complete too. Other recently added stations, placed in formerly vacant Lagrange clouds, do make very useful refueling stops when travelling between planets like Microtech. I'll be very excited to see how these new locations play out when the new patch goes live. As always, I want to thank all of you at home for watching, and send out a huge thank you to all of our amazing patrons who you can see on screen right now. Thank you all for the very generous support you provide me and the channel. Patrons like you are what make these videos possible, and I am hugely grateful to all of you for the help. If you are thinking of starting Star Citizen yourself, you can use the referral code in the description below to gain an extra 5,000 credits when signing up for a new account. And furthermore, if you use the referral code over the next 2 weeks, you'll also receive a free Dragonfly Black with $40 added to your hangar. If you've seen the circumnavigating Microtech videos on the channel, well, you'll know what that little bike is capable of. There is also an ongoing free flight event at the moment, continuing until the 25th, so it's never been a better time to try out the game and get involved.